February 19th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who's been smothered, covered, diced, peppered, capped, but never topped. J.P. Shadrick.
Never. That's a book rule. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Thursday. It is the AFC divisional playoff coming up. We've got a busy 2 hours ahead. Starting with Jaguars Happy Hour, analyst Jeff Lageman standing by, as is tight end Chris Manhertz. We'll get his final thoughts on last week, but look ahead to the Kansas City Chiefs. A visit to Arrowhead coming up, the loudest place in the NFL. The Doug Pederson Show coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach to get his final thoughts about the trip ahead to a place he knows very well, of course. This Jaguars team knows it very well. They played there back in week number 10. Let's start with Doug Pederson. Earlier today, a fast start was not the case last week in the wild card playoff game. It would be key and very much welcomed against the Chiefs.
You always try to go into every game and try to start fast. Hasn't been that way. Probably going back to the Houston game. Probably the when we got off to a quick start there. But yeah, you want to do that, and games like this, everything's on the line. You want to, you don't want to get behind, especially against good teams. It's just not a recipe for success.
Trevor Lawrence earlier this week was asked about the noise at Arrowhead Stadium, and of course it was taken out of context nationally. It's being flashed all over national media outlets over the last day or so. Here's the full answer from the Jaguars quarterback about the noise.
Obviously, the environment and the atmosphere we're going to play in is one of, if not the best in the NFL. I mean, I can't imagine it'll be much louder than our fans were here on Saturday, honestly, but that was when we were on defense, not offense. So we played there earlier in the year, but this is a little bit different. It's a playoff game, divisional round. So the stakes are higher, so I expect them to be even crazier, more packed stadium. But at the end of the day, you gotta go play, and you gotta make sure you communicate. That's the one thing. We gotta get in and out of the huddle. We gotta get to the line of scrimmage so we have time to communicate, because everything naturally takes a little longer when it's loud.
So everybody takes one little piece out of that answer and flashes it all over ESPN and everywhere else. All the press conferences and locker room availability on Jaguars.com. More with Doug Pederson, of course, at 5 o'clock on the Doug Pederson Show. And the Duval Divisional Watch Party has been announced. It's Saturday, of course, at Daly's Place, presented by Farrah and Farrah and Patron Tequila. The lots open at 3 o'clock. Gate 1 opens at 3:30. The game kicks off at 4:30. Reserve your free seats at Jaguars.com. Also, tomorrow morning, a send-off, 9:30 to 11:30 on the west side of the stadium. You can send the Jaguars on their way to Kansas City. Come out early tomorrow. We welcome in Jeff Lageman and Jaguars tight end Chris Manhertz. Here we are, still playing football. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. We're still playing football, so all's well in the building these days, and we'll get to this Chiefs game coming up, but, come on. 27 down in the first half, 5 giveaways, 4 of those on offense, and you won the game. That has never happened in NFL history. The -5 turnover deal, third largest comeback ever. We've seen the sounds of the game, some of the stuff behind it, but you're in the midst of this thing. At what point did you think that this could really happen?
To be honest with you, obviously not the most ideal way to start a game in the first half. But I have to credit Trevor. I have to credit everybody, the coaching staff, all the players on this team. Everybody was poised throughout it all. And that just speaks to the resolve that we have on this team, the leadership that we have on this team, and just knowing that the game isn't over until, the clock says 0-0.
Yeah, there was, I think, a lot of people probably counting you guys out at halftime, even though you got a score, which was critical. Defense comes out, gets a stop. You guys take it down and score, and then score on the ensuing 4 possessions. What an amazing game, and just so many different levels of excitement for you guys throughout this game. At what point did you feel like there's no way we're going to lose?
You know what? To be honest with you, I can't think of a particular moment. All I could recall is just the momentum that we had, especially like you said, that the last touchdown of the half by Evan. we went into the half knowing, and the message throughout the whole locker room was just keep plugging, take things one play at a time, and do the things that we could control. And ultimately, we did that, and we ran away with a victory.
There was a big key play there towards the end, 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And you call timeout because you guys didn't like the look that you had previously. You end up having the coaches talk about it with Trevor on the sideline. You come back out there and you're lined up in the backfield in a three-back set, kind of like the old wing T, right?
Yeah, the T formation. Take us through the play, Chris.
I mean, everything about that play in formation, I guess from a defensive perspective, they were probably thinking that, we was going to do some type of QB sneak or, shoot the inside gaps. But that was the plan. But, ETN just saw an opportunity to take it on the edge and use his great God-given ability and hitting the edge around with speed and just making a very instinctive play again. That's one of those things that I've been saying from Jump Street about him. Once he puts his foot in the ground and hits it, he's rolling.
Yeah, a lot of people were thinking, okay, that Trevor's going to run the sneak, and then you and Farrell, the tight ends in the backfield, would help push, as well as Travis.
Help push. He put a guy on his rear end. Are you kidding me?
Well,
I mean, on the replay
true,
we're
but
watching on Jaguars.com.
But if you go back and you look at the formation, and I remember looking at it and I went, Travis is just a slight hair behind the two tight ends. And I said, I think they're going to – and then the ball was snapped, and then sure enough, there goes Travis around the outside because it's hard to see that when you're a defensive player, but up in the booth where I was at, you could see that Travis was just a hair behind you guys to allow him the clearance to be able to get around. You get a great block on the outside on Kyle Van Noy and crush him. And then that Zay Jones right on the outside of you ends up cracking on the safety and does a great job, which is amazing. Wide receivers blocking like your guys do. I mean, just total team effort overall.
Yeah, and it takes everybody, beyond the tight ends, beyond the O-line. Like you said, the wide receivers play a big part in our run game as well, and I'm just glad that everyone executed their job at a high level.
All right, so it's 4th and 1 at that moment. You're at the 41. I mean, this is do or die. So you guys get the play call after the timeout. What's going through the huddle at that moment?
At that point, I could recall in the huddle, Trevor looking all of us in the eyes and saying, guys, this is the season right here. Let's go get this thing. And, that was just enough for us to go out there, bow up, and, just make a play. And I'm just glad that it happened the way that it did.
You've been around the league for a number of years, Travis Etienne. It's only his second year, first year playing, and he has the awareness to not go out of bounds. I mean, I don't know if he was coached up before the play or what, but you're talking about being fundamentally sound. I thought that was a perfect display of awareness by Travis.
Yeah, having the presence of mind to do that in that particular situation in the game. Hats off to Travis, but I also have to give a lot of credit to our coaches because they put us through various scenarios throughout the week in every situational football play or situation in the game that might come up. So we get drilled those things on a weekly basis, and at that point for him it was probably second nature.
All right, so I want to take you back to one other play because it was the 2-point conversion. Okay, and Evan Ingram's assignment on the play. Okay, you're a tight end. You might get called, out to maybe do that at some point. Maybe not. Maybe. Okay. When Trevor, and you guys are aware of what the play call is on the sideline, when you saw Trevor take the snap and then do the old Superman across the goal line, what was your thought process?
My thought process was a quick, oh no, oh yes. It was one of those things. But like I said, great instincts by Trevor. He made the play, and I'm glad that he got in there and, nothing unfortunate happened, I would say.
To let people know, when I was watching the play and I saw him dive, I was like, something didn't look right. Because you got two offensive linemen, you got Sheriff and Fortner that are pass blocking. And then after the fact, you go back, you watch the film, and you see that there's clearly a little design play on the left side to Evan Ingram, and Trevor's diving through two guys pass blocking. I was going, oh my gosh, he just did that.
Yeah, and he saw an opportunity, and I can't fault him for it because we scored, So I'm just glad it all worked out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, all of us, all the above.
But that play, it put all the pressure on the Chargers. I mean, you talking about puckering up. I mean, you guys get that 2-point conversion. Now all of a sudden, field goal wins it. I mean, that just puts even more pressure on the Chargers. And that was when I saw that play happening, that was the moment for me. I said, this team's not going to lose. There's no way.
Right, and that was our mentality, like I said, throughout the whole, even whatever you want to call what transpired in the first half. We just have an unmatched, what I would call just will and positivity throughout the whole situation, whether that be people on the sideline, players, defensive players coming up to Trevor, giving him that assurance, that confidence that we have his back. So it was just great to be a part of.
JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman and Chris Manhertz. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. Let's move it ahead now to Kansas City, a place you guys know from back in Week 10. We just heard Trevor Lawrence talking about the noise in the place, and he's getting called out by a bunch of national media types, taking that one little bite about not as, Jacksonville was as loud, but it's loud. It's noisy there. It's what it is, Chris, right? I mean, it's the loudest place in football. How do you guys handle that environment?
I mean, I could confidently say we've been there before. We played them this season at some point, so we know exactly what we're in for, what we're going up against, the type of team that we're going up against. So I'm just glad that at least we played them before, and guys are now more acclimated to that type of environment.
You guys practicing all week long with the noise. Okay, that would let people know one way that you kind of get yourself ready is to try to simulate the environment you're going into. And in practice today and yesterday, you guys are piping in this loud white noise. It's just, it's like
it sounds just like
something from Dumb and Dumber, but it's so loud you can't even talk. And if there is ever a way to practice, at least getting the practice in that kind of environment's got to help.
Oh, it only helps. We know it's going to be loud. So Coach does a great job in trying to put us in situations where obviously we're uncomfortable in practice, but once the game comes around, it almost feels like second nature.
Did you see the forecast?
Heard it's going to snow a little bit.
Possibly a little bit of snow, yeah.
Mid-30s.
Snow's better than rain.
No big deal. I feel like environments like that or distractions like that will only be a big deal if you make them. So those are things we can't control, but we're just excited to go out there and just play some ball.
Keep playing football. That's the whole goal. Let's move ahead now to the Chiefs' defense. You've seen them once this year. It starts up front, and it starts with the big guy in the middle, Chris Jones. What stands out about the veteran defensive lineman?
The guy's a disruptor, to be honest. He's good in both phases, run and pass. And he's long, he's strong, and he has a great motor for being a big guy. So I know particularly as a tight end, I might not see him from a matchup standpoint, but I know that guys on the inside definitely have their work cut out for them.
Doug was talking this week, Logs, about you got to have four hands on this guy, and sometimes that may not even be enough, right, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. He's a good player. I tip my hat off to him, but at the same time, I'm fully confident in our line and what we're capable of and what we've been shown we're able to do. So it should be a fun matchup.
Yeah, going back to watching the previous matchup, he was a force in that game, and in the last 3 games, I think he's had 4.5 sacks to close the season out. This guy's gotten hot. There's not many defensive tackles in the league that ever get 15.5 sacks. This is a rarity. This guy's a rare blend of power, size, length, speed. He's got it all, and like you said. By the way, you got 4 hands on you?
Yeah, I got enough.
You got enough?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty good now, but he's not the only guy. Okay, the Chiefs have really fast flow linebackers. Okay, Bolton and Gay, I believe their names are inside, and the will linebacker, really good players, but also on the edge. And that you're going to be facing Frank Clark, who didn't play the last game, I don't think, against you guys. I think he was inactive. And then Carlos Dunlap. And these guys are kind of 2 different types of players, aren't they, for you? And I know you may have to block both of these guys. And when you kind of approach these guys, it's a little different approach, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit different, especially a guy like Dunlap. He's been around for a while. He's a longer guy, taller guy. But he's a savvy vet. He's decent in the run game as well. He wants to rush the passer. So we definitely have to have a plan for those guys, and more than anything, I'm just excited to, for the matchups altogether, whether it's my matchups, whether it's for the inside with the O-lineman and Chris Jones. So it's just an exciting time.
It certainly is. Confidence is sky high in that locker room, just walking through there the last few days, it feels like. And rightly so. You guys are on a roll right now. So got to carry that over. And you're the enemy this week on the road, Arrowhead, playoff game. But that brings you guys closer together. It could, right?
Definitely will. And like I said, we've been here before.
Yeah.
It's not the first situation or adverse situation we've been in over the course of the season. So, the guys will be ready.
The last couple of weeks we talked about that long wait, Saturday night, right? At the 8:15 kick. Nice to have a 4:30 kick this week.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too. Get a good
lot.
breakfast in, maybe a workout. I mean, for me, not you. Okay.
So you were working out before the game.
Okay, and then for you guys, you get to have a nice breakfast, sleep in a little bit more. I mean, as a player, that was probably my favorite kickoff time, was the 4 o'clock kicks. Just because you never felt rushed.
Right.
In the morning,
It's a happy medium in between, the early game, the 1 o'clock game, and the prime time 8 o'clock game. So, for me, I just want to wake up and play ball. That's the way I'm wired. That's the way I operate. And once I wake up on game day, I'm just wired and ready to go.
I got to get your thoughts on one guy in particular, because I know you're not going against him, but as a tight end, you've got to, I'm sure, appreciate what Travis Kelce is doing in Kansas City. He just completed his 7th 1,000-yard receiving season. He's a dominant player, and I'm sure you probably watch him on film many times just to watch and appreciate the player he is.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that changed the tight end position and the way it's viewed. And I know him personally. I've been a part of the tight end University Summit these past 2 years, and got a chance to talk to him, be around him, and there's a reason why he's been able to do what he's been able to do for so long, just from a technique standpoint, his knowledge of the game. And it's just a credit to the work he's put in, and definitely one of those guys that, he'll probably end up being one of the better tight ends this game has ever seen. So
yeah, I mean, his numbers are right on par with what you're talking about. I mean, it's just incredible. He's like the fastest tight end ever to 10,000 yards receiving, 7 consecutive 1,000-yard receivings has never been done before, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down.
No, not at all. That's the scary part.
Yeah. Hopefully he slows down Saturday.
Let's start Saturday with that, Logs. Hey, good luck to you. Safe travels. Bring back another W, and let's do this again next week. How about
Appreciate it. See you next week.
Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, is with us. Plenty more ahead. We are off and running on 1010XL AM, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube on this Thursday. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, M-Sculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
I think quarterbacks, coaches, we're measured on championships, especially in our league. And, Trevor's 1-0 in the postseason. So, that's a start. Not where he, obviously, or myself, where we need to be or want to be, but it's a start in the right direction, just much like this season has been for us. And you just want to be at the end of each year. You want to be in the conversation. You want to have those meaningful games. You want to be playing for the AFC South, giving yourself an opportunity to get in the postseason, and then you got to win postseason games. And that is a measure of, quarterbacks, I think, in the league. But ultimately, you have to win the championship to really, take that next step.
That's head coach Doug Pederson earlier today. The full press conference available on Jaguars.com. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday. And Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, has been with us the last few weeks. Well, about 4 weeks now or so.
Yeah, no, he's very insightful, and I appreciate him because I like watching him play. He's an excellent blocker, excellent blocking tight end. I'm disappointed though that he didn't get one more ball thrown his way this year.
The year's not over.
No, well, I know, but I mean, for a personal season high,
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
He would have had to have had it in the Tennessee game, and he just needed one more for a career high.
I would guess that he would give that up for a playoff touchdown.
I think he is perfectly content to be where he is.
That's
no
right.
doubt.
The divisional watch party, the Duval divisional watch party, coming up Saturday at Daly's Place, presented by Farah and Farah and Patron Tequila. And Farah and Farah is the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The parking lot's open at 3 o'clock. Gate 1 opens at 3:30. The game kickoff time is 4:30, and you can reserve free seats. You must reserve your free seats at Jaguars.com. And then also tomorrow morning logs a send-off to send you to the airplane to Kansas City. They're going to come see you 9:30 to 11:30 on the west side of the stadium. You can send off the Jaguars as they make their way to the airport. Do not go to the airport for this, by the way. Come down here to the stadium.
No, and also the it'll be fun. It's a great way for the fans to kind of be a part of it. I remember going back to 1996 when we beat Buffalo and we came back and we landed. And at that time, we would take the buses as players to and from the airport. And so as we're leaving the airport to come back to the stadium, the airport road was literally lined with people and trucks and cars and people celebrating. And they just had to have some way of just showing their support and energy towards the victory that we got in Buffalo, and it was incredible. And then the following week was when they encouraged people to go to the stadium instead of the airport.
We saw that again in 2017, of course, after the game in Pittsburgh. Everybody came down for that.
Those things it's
fun, man.
As a player, I mean, when you see that excitement, it's cool. It's takes you back a little bit to, I don't want to say high school, but the college, where people are fired up. And, and this city's alive right now with Jaguars fever, and that's awesome.
I was going to say, how many other cities in the league would do that kind of thing? It's not there might be some.
Well, I'm sure some of them do it, but, the reality is, look, it's winning has been kind of hard to find around here. So, the fan base is really enjoying it, as they should. And I did an interview with Bob Papa yesterday and Charlie Weiss, and Bob is the play-by-play guy for the New York Giants, but he also hosts a show with Charlie Weiss on Sirius XM NFL Radio. Well, Bob lives down in Nocatee, okay, and then flies up to New York or wherever to do the Giants games, and he was telling me the story that he was coming back from the Giants game, and he landed in Jacksonville, and he said as soon as hit the ground and they turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. He said they had a guy stand up on the plane and just go, Duval. And he said as soon as he said it, he said the entire plane just echoes the Duval chant. And he said it was incredible. But that's where the city is at right now. It's boiling over in Teal, and it's fantastic.
Jaguar gear everywhere you go. The grocery store, Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, to the watering hole, to the restaurants. I mean, it's fun, man. It's
cool
really
stuff,
cool.
And it's and I'm glad that a lot of the employees here, a lot of the fans get to experience this because there's a lot of newer fans that really haven't had that opportunity, and so it's cool, man. It takes me back to the days of old, which is a lot of happy days and happy times for Jaguar fans.
Let's come back in a moment. We'll get into this matchup a little deeper. The Chiefs and the Jaguars coming up in the AFC divisional playoff game. It's a Saturday 4:30 kickoff time from GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hey, I'm driving. I joined the new Dunkin' Rewards program, and today's the day I'm going to use my points on a medium iced latte and a couple of chocolate frosted donuts.
Here you go, and thanks for being a rewards member.
And now I'm using those chocolate frosted donuts, kids, to get a few sweet, blissful minutes of beautiful relief from the never-ending onslaught of backseat bickering.
Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Join new Dunkin' Rewards today. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Terms apply.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timoneri, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
There's more things that pull you away from your job, and what you're focused on. And I think it can be a little bit more of a distraction, especially going on the road. But for me, it's about keeping everybody together, at the hotel and in the meetings and how we do things and handle things. But I also want the guys to enjoy these times too. They don't come around very often, and anytime you get a chance to play in the postseason, it's a great accomplishment for your guys. So I do want them to also enjoy these opportunities.
Doug Pederson, of course, Jaguars head coach, on the opportunity ahead of this Jaguars team at Arrowhead this week, a road playoff game. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Thanks to Chris Manhertz, Jaguars tight end, joining us in the opening segment. 5 o'clock today is the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach and get his final thoughts ahead of the AFC divisional playoff game. Well, Patrick Mahomes has 8 playoff wins in his career. The Jacksonville Jaguars as an organization have 8 in their history. So Patrick Mahomes gets Trevor Lawrence, who's playing in his second career playoff game. They won't face off against each other. Obviously, that's the quarterback matchup. And 2 of the 8 quarterbacks in the playoffs now that they're all 29 years or younger. It feels like Patrick Mahomes has been around forever already. He's 27 years old. Yeah, right? They're going to be around for a long time. And, boy, this is they've seen Mahomes before. I think that at least you've seen it in person. Doesn't mean it's any easier to defend from Week 10, but here he is again.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easier. Andy Reid's had a bye week to be able to add maybe a little wrinkle or two to his offense.
How about Andy Reid's 27-4 coming off a bye week in his career?
Well, this is not really a bye week, is it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think positive.
They were off last week.
I was trying to
that
think
includes
positive.
the playoff bye.
Well, so look, he's got 4 losses, okay? Let's make it a good even total number, put that at 5, and so then 27-5 would be nice.
It would be nice, yes.
No, he's a great coach. He's a great coach, and he's an innovator on offense. And, yes, I know that he has an offensive coordinator that calls plays, but Andy is instrumental in the play design and the calling as well. And I don't know if there's a better offensive coach in the league. I mean, he truly is innovative. I mean, he comes up with stuff that you go, wow. And I think against the Raiders, they had something new, this circular merry-go-round huddle thingy that they did against the Raiders and caught them off guard a little bit.
Yeah, in the red zone especially, he'll get creative with this kind of stuff, with the pre-snap and the motions and everything that comes with that. But
here's the basis. Okay, the basis is that Andy Reid has Patrick Mahomes.
You can do a lot more of that stuff when you have 15 throwing it around.
When you have the number 1 rated quarterback, the guy that can throw it from any angle, any way you want, got touch, velocity. Oh, and by the way, he's athletic and mobile and does a lot of creative things on his own by extending the play with his legs. I mean, he's a handful. So ask me, JP, how are the Jaguars going to stop him?
Hey, Jeff Lageman, how will the Jaguars stop Patrick Mahomes?
Well, here's what you got to do.
Okay.
First and foremost, you have to be fundamentally sound. So you have to make sure that your entire defense is on the same page. You can't have breakdowns like you did in Week 10. Okay, where you had Travis Kelce running with the nearest defender about 15 yards away. You can't have that. You have to be assignment clean. You have to be, I'm not saying you don't have to be perfect from an execution standpoint, but you have to make them earn everything. You have to tackle well. They're going to make plays, and that's okay. But if you minimize the damage that the plays have, then you're better served lining up again and making them earn another down. And that's what you have to do. And then also, You have to find a way to pressure Patrick Mahomes. And however you do that, whether you do it with a 4-man rush, whether you do it with a 5-man rush, whether you do it with a zone dog, whether you do it with a cover 0 blitz, however you do it, you've got to find a way to make him uncomfortable. But you can't allow him to run around wild because he will make you pay. The one difference, I think, from last year to this year with him, he doesn't have the greatest deep threat in the league anymore with Tyreek Hill. That's impacted him in a big way. And I think it's impacted his numbers, and I know you've got some numbers that you can share with Patrick Mahomes without being pressured, Patrick Mahomes being under pressure.
You know, in the past, he's actually been better against blitz than he was just standing there.
And that's when he had Tyreek Hill.
Which is weird, right?
Yeah.
Well, this year, his passer rating without pressure is 119. Pretty good.
Really good. That's
fantastic.
That would be number 1 in the league.
His passer rating with pressure in the 2022 regular season, 57.7. That's a 61-point decline.
That's a losing number.
It's the third largest decline in the NFL this year behind Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson.
And those numbers, just so that we can make sure that we're being open and honest, they don't explain exactly what pressure means. Does it mean that they've got somebody that beat somebody in one-on-one pass rush, or is it a 5-man pressure or greater? They don't really clarify that, but we get the point. The point is that if you can get Patrick Mahomes off the spot, you've got an opportunity to be able to have an impact in the ball game. But so if your assignment clean, you tackle well, you make sure you have no open guys running down the field, you've got a chance if you make them earn everything that they can get.
You know, that one thing you just mentioned, guys running open down the field, it felt like that happened a lot in Week 10.
Well,
there were guys wide open.
It did. If you'll remember, you had Travis Kelce running a crossing route. There was nobody anywhere near him. And then you had a across-the-field formation, and it was the newly acquired wide receiver.
Toney.
Kadarius Toney on a little swing route. There was nobody on literally anywhere within 20 yards of him.
I think there was, at that point, I remember a stat, I think he was the most open receiver in the league through Week 10.
And that's when he hopped down the sideline into the end zone.
In the flat. It wasn't like he was downfield.
Right.
Like, what?
So you can't have those plays, okay? And so that's why I mean you got to be assignment clean. But here's the other thing the defense can do. Root for the offense when they have the ball. To hope that they and root them on and putting some plays together, putting drives together, putting plays together so it keeps Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, and then you want to score touchdowns on the end of those sustained drives.
Jags have had plenty of defensive changes since Week 10 as well. They were still trying to figure out the secondary a little bit. Devin Lloyd in that game. How is it different
Devin
now?
Lloyd was lost in that game.
Well, how's it different now for this defense?
Well, they got Darius Williams is now outside, and they kind of flip-flop that corner in the nickel position as far as responsibility. I think he's starting to get better performance out of Devin Lloyd. Muma's been playing a little bit more, and actually he's been doing pretty good lately. And actually both of them have been doing a better job. So you've improved from that aspect, and you've got to continue to improve. And I think also now you're starting to get some consistent pass rush, especially lately. Trayvon Walker, I thought, had a good game against the Chargers. Thought Josh was solid again. Josh has been playing really well the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe somewhere in that range. So you've got to continue to get that. I think Arden Key has been key. I mean, not to use the same last name, but
see what you did there.
No, but he was good now this past game. He didn't have the numbers to back it up, but he was just so disruptive, and he created opportunities for other guys, and that's what you want to have. Somebody's got to be that guy. And I think Arden Key has been really good. Big Roy was outstanding last week, the tackle for losses.
Oh, yeah.
He's been really good the last couple of weeks. So those kind of performances need to happen again against the Chiefs, and here's why. It's Patrick Mahomes, yes, but it's not just Patrick Mahomes. Look, they got a really good offense with really good talent.
How do you slow down Kelce? Keywords, slow down.
Yeah, because you're not going to stop him, and you're going to have to double him, and you're going to have to lean a safety his way, which means you're going to take some attention away from another aspect of your coverage. But that's what you have to do because he's that good. And, you hope that Cisco and Rayshawn. Those guys will see plenty of Travis Kelce. The linebackers will see plenty of Kelce. They just got to do a good job. And when you're playing zone and Kelce's going from one zone to the other, you have to anticipate and match him in your zone. And that's not easy to do because Kelce, look, he is who he is for a reason, okay? He puts season after season together. He's really good. And it's going to be a challenge to stop him.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're back with a closer look at the Jaguars' offense and how they match up against the Chiefs' defense and the injury report. Game statuses are in, Logs.
Breaking news.
Status. Either way, we're back with them. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.
You guys, neither one of you know the answer to
Digital Network.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Basketball is in full swing at the University of North Florida. Watch the Ospreys take on ASUN Conference opponents like Liberty, crosstown rival JU, Florida Gulf Coast, and more in the newly upgraded UNF Arena. Visit UNFOspreys.com for tickets and details. Exclusive experiences are available for groups of 10 or more. Go Ospreys and swoop.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Thursday, the AFC Divisional Playoff game coming up Saturday at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. It's a 4:30 Eastern kickoff for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. If you're watching on Jaguars.com or Jag social media, we're taking a live look outside. Partly cloudy afternoon. and that is the Miller Electric Center. It's under construction. It is going up quickly. It will be open for business in the summertime at some point, and the expectation is to have training camp right there on those practice fields. Boy, it's been fun to watch that thing go up and go quickly, and the Jags, maybe they'll put the Lombardi Trophy in the lobby of the new place.
Slow down, JP.
Wouldn't that be something?
Slow down.
Come on, Logs. That's what we're here for.
One game at a time, JP.
I'm with you,
it's a divisional game. Let's just let's concentrate on this game and worry about this one. Okay, Mahomes hasn't lost one yet.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's just
okay,
this game.
Tap the brakes.
Live in the moment. Be where your feet are.
One at a time.
One at a time.
Brick by brick.
That's right.
The divisional. I keep saying it. The Duval Divisional Watch Party is coming up Saturday, of course, at Daly's Place, presented by Farrah and Patron Tequila. Lots open at 3 o'clock. Gate 1 opens at 3:30. The game kicks off at 4:30. Reserve your free seats now. Jaguars.com. Should be packed. I've heard people talking about this all week long as well.
They should open the gates up earlier than that for tailgating.
I don't know the rules behind that. I know the Jaguars and the city of Jacksonville are going in together on this thing.
Can we call Chad and say, hey, Chad, man, can we get the gates open up for the fans a little early? I mean, what's wrong with a little tailgating?
That's Jeff Lageman. Yeah, I'm with you. It is sponsored by.
I'll stay in my lane, JP.
I just say it's what it is.
It's going to be cool, though. I know that a lot of people that are planning on coming down to it, and Daly's Place, the South Enzo Bud Zone, I think, is kind of all that is all kind of together. It's going to be cool.
It'll be awesome. And, of course, Friday morning, a send-off, 9:30 to 11:30 on the west side of the stadium. That's by the on the side where the Jaguar statue is, the touchdown statue right there. So send off the Jaguars on their way to Kansas City.
Are you coming?
To?
The send-off tomorrow.
I'll be here.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to be here working,
like
right?
every other day you guys leave.
Okay,
yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
all right, just
absolutely.
Making sure.
Just making
sure.
Like every other Friday.
We got to make sure that you're here. I mean, I want to change up any mojo.
Why would I change it now?
You can't change the mojo. So, folks, listen to me now. If you wore a pair of certain underwear last week on Saturday, wear the same thing again this Saturday. If you got a certain favorite Jaguar shirt, wear that Jaguar shirt again. Okay, we cannot break mojo. And I'm not talking about Maurice.
Yeah, he was on Drive Time this week, by the way.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
All right, hey, Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence had the worst. Well, he had the worst performance, arguably, in Jaguars history in the first half, and then followed it up with one of the best performances in Jaguars history in the second half. And really, at the end of the first half of that final drive, it's all in one game together. And I don't think I've seen anything like this before.
Yeah, and if I broke the numbers down a little differently, those are first half, second half. If you break it down after the fourth interception, he was 24-31 for 241 yards and 4 touchdowns. Before the last interception, or from the beginning of the game until that fourth interception, he was 4 of 16 for 30 yards and 4 interceptions.
Incredible.
So only 30 yards passing. Up until that point, he threw that fourth pick. I mean, it was a struggle. And 2 of them were on him. 1 of them was a tip. 1 of them probably a wide receiver. And then, of course, the one that's not credited to him, which obviously had nothing to do with him, the muffed punt that happens to land right on Chris Claybrooks' helmet. And the Chargers were able to recover and have great field position. I mean, it was at that point, it was like, can anything go right? That was the one you were just like, oh, no. And I was sitting there, JP, I was going, nobody's ever won.
Right.
And I didn't know that, but I was sitting there saying to myself,
it had to be true.
Nobody has ever won with a turnover differential of -5. So this team's got to find a way to get back in it with takeaways.
Turnovers.
And the fact that they won it without getting a takeaway and scoring on every possession, I mean, 5 straight scoring possessions, I mean, it's unheard of.
It was a perfect game. In the second half.
It was awesome.
Unreal.
I mean, I get home. I know I was listening to you on the drive home, and you signed off the air before I got home.
Right.
I mean, Joe, okay, we're all texting at like 2:30 in the morning. Joe's eating pancakes.
I was up late.
At 3, I got a tequila or 2 at 2:30 or so in the morning, and just wired. You know, like, let's go.
I was going through all the videos on Twitter and stuff. It was awesome, man. It was
How were the
best.
pancakes, Joe?
Oh, they were delicious. You know what's funny, though? About 3 o'clock on NFL Network, they showed the game.
Yes.
So my wife and I were still up. We're watching, but it was 27-0, so we went to bed.
You turned it off. They're never going to come back. Unbelievable.
That's a good one.
Unbelievable. All right, so moving it ahead now. He spread the wealth on those touchdowns. 4 different players caught touchdown passes in the game last week. That's kind of been the story of the season. They spread things out. If it's one guy in a week, it could be another guy that stands out the next week. It took all hands on deck last week to get it done. What's the matchup that you like this week?
Well, let me first go to those touchdowns because I think there was something that was unique for every one of the touchdowns that were scored, and we got to start with Evans, which was the first one before the half.
Yep.
What a great route that he had on that because he runs up the field and then he breaks a sharp in route towards the backer to freeze him. While that is going on, he's got 2 wide receivers running in and then pulling the safeties away so that Evan can break that in route and go vertical. And so you're trying to keep the safeties away as much as possible. So, I mean, a great job by Trevor, great route by Evan Ingram. The next touchdown, Marvin Jones, that one right there that we're seeing. You want to talk about pulling a cornerback way inside. Asante Samuel almost got and hit his head on the goalpost because a great head fake by Marvin there had him falling down to the ground to the inside. And then the 39-yarder Zay. That was a great check by Trevor.
Beautiful.
He saw something in the coverage, checked this play, and got Zay behind Derwin James on that left side. And you needed a chunk play score somewhere in the second half to make all of this possible. And bam, Zay Jones for 39 yards, and then the one to Christian Kirk for 9 yards. Okay, you want to talk about boxing a guy out? Christian Kirk literally slows down a little bit. First of all, he's got a great route, gets good separation, but then he uses his body to kind of shield the defender away from making a play on the ball. See how he slows down a little bit there? Slows down just enough to make sure that the defender can't go through. And then if the defender does hit him, he will get an interference call and get first and goal at the 1. I mean, so all of these plays were just tremendous. And, of course, Trevor making it up as he goes with the leaping Superman quarterback sneak on the 2-point conversion. And then on the drive, the 4th and 1. I mean, just so many great plays and great efforts and great individual plays to speak of, and it was a game for the ages. There's no doubt.
All right, let's move it ahead now to Kansas City. Week 10 at Arrowhead, Christian Kirk had 12 targets, 9 catches, 105 through the air, and 2 touchdowns, leading the way. Can you expect that again?
Yes.
What's the matchup this week?
Yes. I think he will have an opportunity at another big game because Kansas City likes to play aggressive. Okay, Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, likes to play man, likes to be aggressive, and I don't think Kansas City has anybody that can cover him. I don't.
Especially if you don't get hands on him quick.
They didn't cover him last time.
Right.
So what are they going to do this time? I don't know. I think they're going to maybe mix it up a little bit, maybe. I don't know, but I think Christian's going to be a guy that you can go to. I think Evan is going to have his handful with those 2 linebackers. They're pretty good, and but I think Christian's going to be able to have a good day. I think Zay will have some opportunities as well. You just want the offense to stay aggressive and have balance as well, because every offense has a great opportunity at putting a lot of points on the board when you got balance. If you got balance and a running game to go with a great performance by your quarterback, because I think you're going to have to score 30 plus, against this Chiefs team to be able to win it, because look, they're the number 1 scoring team in the National Football League. They're the number 1 offense in the National Football League. They're the number 1 passing offense, I believe, in the National Football League. I mean, they're all of that and more, so you got to be ready.
It is time now for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have breaking news. The game status is in, stati, whatever they're called, the statuses are in, and the Chiefs have 1 player out for the game. Mecole Hardman, wide receiver with a pelvis injury, has not practiced all week. He
hasn't played
out.
in a long time either.
He's out.
Yeah, he didn't play the last time against the Jaguars. He's been out like almost the entire season.
He's out of this game. That's all we care about.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, it's like I hope he's okay and he gets healthy, but yeah.
Three other guys on the list this week. Frank Clark, defensive end with a groin issue, limited Tuesday, Wednesday, full today. He's off the report. He'll play. Sky Moore, wide receiver, hand injury, full all week. He'll play. L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback, hip injury, full all week. He'll play. The Jaguars have 6 players on the list. They are all questionable for the game, Logs.
Yeah, like they have been the last 2.
Correct. Kendrick Pryor with the shoulder issue, Trevor Lawrence with the toe, of course, Jamal Agnew with a shoulder issue, Ross Matisick with a back issue, Brandon Sheriff with the abdomen, and Luke Fortner with a back issue was on the list this week for the first time. Limited all week, but questionable for the game. Those are the statuses, and you can expect most of those guys, if not all, to suit up and play.
Well, you hope. You hope. I mean, it's the Jaguars football
it's
team.
Playoff football, man.
Yeah, you're going to make it happen. I mean, if you're banged up a little bit, you're going to be banged up for a little bit. It's just kind of the nature of the business. But this team's been pretty healthy all year. Pretty fortunate to have the health level that they've had. And I know that there's been significant losses with Smoot and Cam Robinson and Ben Barch, and those hurt. I get that. But if you compared the Jaguars to a lot of other teams as far as number of games lost with starters this year, I mean, it would probably pale in comparison to some of the teams that they've played recently, especially Tennessee.
I mean, the Jaguars used the fewest amount of players in the league this year. 61 players saw the field.
Yeah,
and on the other side, you mentioned Tennessee. They had the most. 86 players played.
Yeah, that's a sign of good health. It's a lot of luck involved, but also a credit to the players for getting their bodies ready for the rigors. But again, that is a lot of good fortune and luck.
Staff helping them out, obviously. Fergie and the crew down there do a great job to help out.
All the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff. I mean, all of those people play a significant role in players' health and the ability of players' availability. But and that's awesome. They've the one thing that the Jaguars have right is the strength training, the rehab, the training room, and that right there has been, perfect this year. And then last year it was pretty good too.
Coming up tonight at Strings, it's Jags All Access on Fox 30. What do you got tonight?
Josh Allen, I think we got some specialists tonight.
Oh, they always draw a crowd.
I think. I'm not positive on that.
I think that's the case.
I think we got some specialists.
I was going to say, you have the specialists tonight, but I was going to let you lead into it.
The game winners.
All of them are there. Ross Matisick, Logan Cook, the punter and holder, of course, and Riley Patterson.
And the one who kicked it through.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah.
That's
so
what time? 7 o'clock, right?
7 o'clock at Strings.
I was there last week, man.
And Brent Martineau.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah. He's a big draw.
Kind of a big deal.
Big deal.
What do you want to hear from Doug Pederson coming up on his radio program moments from now?
I want to have a little flashback to the game, and we were just talking about how we took a bit of time to kind of wind down from the game, and ask him what it was like for him. And, the game, some of the play calling that he had in that game, and talk about the sneak or the Superman thing, how did that go? And what did you think about that? I mean, it's there's a lot of things. Also, Kansas City, Andy Reid.
Yeah, all that. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah,
They've gone back a long way.
Great storyline right there. Having played for Andy Reid with Philadelphia and coaching with him before, was his offensive coordinator in Kansas City. I think games like this, when you compete against people it makes it even more intense.
They've done it once this year. Doug has not gotten him yet, 0 for 2 against Andy Reid, and maybe that'll change this week too.
I hope it does. Look, Doug and his coaching staff have been grinding all week. They're trying to put the players in the best position that they can. What will be interesting is what kind of wrinkles will be shown in this game. Might Doug have a wrinkle?
I'm sure he usually does.
Andy Reid might have a wrinkle.
I'm sure he has a handful of them. That's his MO.
Could some of them wrinkles originated from the other coach? That would be kind of sticking it to
the Jaguars do a ring around the huddle thing before?
I don't know.
I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Let's go.
Maybe.
Opening kickoff, onside kick again. Why not?
Maybe.
Can't do that again.
Yeah, and here's the thing, JP. you think that that's like the last thing that they're going to do, right? If you're Kansas City, there's no way.
Never going to do it
Never
twice.
going to do it again. We're not worried about that. And then do it.
All right, coming up, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the head coach in just moments. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour on Jaguars Radio.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show, brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in the Doug Pederson Show, presented by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. It's on to Kansas City for an AFC divisional playoff game against the Chiefs. Plenty on that matchup coming up. But, Coach, we've got to reflect on one of the wildest games in NFL playoff history last week. In a season of comebacks, this one takes the cake. Down 27-0, the third largest comeback win in NFL playoff history. 5 first-half turnovers, then a near-perfect game in the second half. I mean, this thing had it all. This is an unbelievable win.
It did, and I told the team the other day that the first law of holes is stop digging, and you just got to start filling them in. But it's the craziest game that I've ever been a part of in my 30-plus years in the National Football League, and I guess in a way it sort of sums our season up, and what we've done and what we have been able to accomplish this year. But listen, my hat is completely off to our guys, to the locker room, to the coaches. There was literally no panic in the locker room at halftime. There was no screaming. There was no shouting. It was all about making adjustments and how we were going to get back in that football game, and we did. And my message at halftime was basically, guys, defense, we got to get off the field, and offense, we got to score every time we touch the ball, and we did that. So credit to the guys for hanging in there and getting the win.
And to kind of back up what you're saying, the Jaguars production department does a thing called Sounds of the Game every week, and so they're recording some of the reactions of your team on the sidelines, the interactions, and you could see it and you could hear it in the confidence that they had, the offensive guys talking to the defensive guys talking to the offensive guys. I got your back. And it was amazing to see because, as you know, -5, 38 times it's happened in the last 10 years. No team's ever won.
No team's ever won, and no team's probably done it in the postseason, obviously. And that's just, that's just a credit to the players and really the coaches for being able to handle that situation. And, and honestly, when we got down 27-0, it didn't feel like we were really getting beat 27. It felt like we were beating ourselves, 27-0, and felt like if we could just handle and take care of some business, all we got to do is take care of the football, number one thing. We could probably get ourselves back into the game. But scoring that touchdown at the end of the half was huge, and then coming out in the third quarter and doing the exact same thing again was also big to get those 14 points right away.
Yeah, and Trevor, having the mental toughness to have 4 interceptions, to be able to bounce back is incredible, and probably not enough has been thrown about as far as great job by the defense as well.
The defense played outstanding, second half football. Offensively put them in a bad situation there. We put them on a short field, I think two times at least that I know of. And, you can't do that, not in the postseason, not against an explosive offense like the Chargers. And so my hat's off to the defensive guys, too, for hanging in there and kind of keeping us in this football game. And really what they did in the second half, holding that team to 3 points, getting off the field on third down, was just a thing of – and really – we talk about making a team one-dimensional. Now you want to stop the run, and we were able to do that. And you make them throw the ball, and that's where our pass rushers got after Justin Herbert and did some nice things late in that football game. But defensively, outstanding job.
So at 2:00 in the morning, I'm home. I'm texting the guys in the broadcast department, still wired up.
Unbelievable.
We all were.
What time did you finally end up being able to lay your head down and get some sleep?
I was around 3 a.m. I just was so excited and really looking forward to, obviously this week, but just the excitement in the stadium, the way the guys responded after the game in the locker room. Just I was keyed up as well, and it was a little after 3 before I laid down.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us on the Doug Pederson Show. Now it's moving ahead to Kansas City. This is a trip the Jaguars took back in Week 10, and that's a long time ago. Obviously, it seems like a decade ago the way the season has gone. But that day at Arrowhead, you had many trips into Chiefs territory, but some missed opportunities. The Chiefs had some guys running open for their touchdowns. What lessons do you take from that performance that maybe you can replicate and then cash in upon this week?
I think, number one, we're a different football team. Obviously, they're a different football team. As you said, we had several trips into the red zone that we came up empty. We had a couple missed field goals in there. We had a touchdown that was called back. Defensively, we were bouncing back and forth. Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma bouncing back and forth in that football game, and so we weren't really settled. And so we came away thinking that we could have played better, obviously, and we could have. And looking back on that game, it's just, it's just that. It's just taking care of business. You got to score touchdowns, against a great offense like the Chiefs and a good team like the Chiefs. And, we weren't able to do that. And so, you fast forward to now, being able to score in the red zone is something we've been able to do. Run the ball efficiently is something we've been able to do throughout the course of the year. And we're really going to have to put a great football game together. Can't turn the football over, somehow create takeaways, which we did in the second half of that game. Special teams came up big on a fumble recovery as well. So those are all the things that we came away from that game with that we can hopefully use in this game. Yeah,
those takeaways that you referred to, +3. You got a surprise onside kick to start the game. You'll take that this week, wouldn't you?
You would.
Yeah.
And I think you got to steal a possession. That was kind of the mindset going into the game first time around. And somehow, if you can stop them on downs or create a situation where you gain an extra possession somewhere, and sometimes that's just with a takeaway. That helps. And then offensively, you got to capitalize on it, and you got to get points.
And you kind of talk that way about stealing a possession, getting takeaways, because Patrick Mahomes has the number one scoring offense in the National Football League. He's arguably the best quarterback in the National Football League. He's a tremendous challenge.
He is. And, they're scoring just under 30 points a game. And, it's going to take one of those games where you may have to get into the 30s, to beat this team. And obviously you're also competing against the crowd. It's the loudest stadium in the National Football League. And, there might be some potential weather, coming in. You never know this time of year in Kansas City, having coached there before. You might get a snow flurry or two, and the weather could be cold. So, those are all factors that, are going to play into this football game, and we just eliminate those and go up and play.
You spent plenty of time around Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator. What makes them challenging above and beyond the talent of Patrick Mahomes, but from the play calling standpoint of their offense?
Well, obviously it starts with Andy, and obviously Pat Mahomes, and really, Eric Bieniemy's done a great job when I was there, when I was a coordinator, in the run game and protections and really opening up some lanes for their running game. And even though they don't run the ball a whole lot, it's effective. But Andy's he's a tremendous play caller. He studies the game. He'll understand your strengths and weaknesses, your tendencies, and he'll find that niche. And when he does, you better make an adjustment in a hurry, because he'll keep nipping at it and attacking it. And and also I think with Andy Reid too is he really doesn't care what the defense does. It's all about his offense. And that was the mindset we had when I was with him in Philadelphia and the places I've been in Green Bay and the such, that he just, if they're executing on offense, let's just outscore our opponents and try to win the game that way.
Yeah, play calling aside, sometimes the play doesn't work as designed, and that's where I think Patrick Mahomes becomes special, where you get what we call the off-schedule plays, scramble rules. That's where he really just thrives.
He does, and he's the best at it. It's hard for any defense to get him on the ground. It's rare. And when he does scramble, our back end has got to be on that, plaster technique, as we call it, and they got to attach themselves to the receivers and try not to give them too many open receivers down the field. And we were able to create an interception last time, on a scramble type situation. Cisco had a great pick right there and in the second half. So those are the things that you got to do to put yourself in a position to try to win this game.
Quick thought about the defense for the Chiefs. Chris Jones, first-team All-Pro, 15.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss. Of course, you guys saw him in Week 10. What kind of handful is he?
I mean, we talk a lot about Pat Mahomes and the offense that they have, but Chris Jones and just probably the best D tackle that we will see all season. And we've played some really good ones this year. Frank Clark's another one that can is an edge rusher, and Dunlap's another big, tall, lanky guy who's really energized his career and by being in Kansas City. So they've got a really good front that we've got to attest to. And going into the first game, we came away actually from the first game saying that their linebackers are really good. They're downhill, fast flow guys, and they're smart guys. So and they're young in the secondary, which is good for them. So solid defense, but it starts with Chris and being able to block him and knowing where he is, keeping four hands on him, at all times if possible, and trying to slow him at the line of scrimmage is easier said than done.
Yeah, he's like the barge that once it gets moving, when he decides to go from A to B, I know sometimes it's hard to stop him, but the linebackers you refer to and the secondary that you're talking about being young, I remember going in the last game and I'm watching the film on these guys because a lot of them don't have the notoriety of a Chris Jones. But you turn the tape on and that linebacking group you're talking about, they're really good. And L'Jarius Sneed might be one of the most underrated corners that doesn't get any attention in the National Football League.
Yeah, their secondary is really a really good, young, talented secondary. They got a couple of corners or top, the PFF stuff. They're kind of rated highly, in the league, and they probably don't get enough credit, because the front gets all that, attention. And young guys. One thing with Spags is he's going to be aggressive on the corners, which means he's going to try to put hands on the receivers, disrupt some timing. He mixes his man coverage from time to time. So, he keeps you just guessing just enough as a play caller to really try to execute your offense. But good secondary, good defense, good team, and it's the reason why they're the number one seed.
Spagnuolo, you know the guy, right?
I know him.
Okay, and so tell people how you know him.
Well, I go all the way back to my days in Philadelphia when I was a player back in 1999. I came from Green Bay. Andy Reid was the new head coach in Philadelphia, and he hired Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive assistant back then, and that's when I first got to know him. And then of course he had moved on and worked for the Giants when I was still with the Eagles and things of that nature. So I've not only played on it, or he was the coach when I was a player, and then I became a coach and coached against him a couple times in the league. But got a great relationship with him and his wife, and one of the good ones in the league.
Final thoughts with you here, Coach. Jacksonville's wild for the Jaguars right now. They already are anyway, but the way this second half of the season has gone, and of course the last 2 or 3 weeks, especially last week, I mean, the city's on fire right now. So is this Jaguars team ready to continue this ride and ride the wave to Kansas City? Why not, right?
Yeah, this team is excitable. This team is ready to, take that next step, obviously. And I said this in the media the other day that if this is our last game, I mean, our season is such a huge success, where we are and what we've accomplished to make it to the divisional round of the NFL season. And who would have thought, in year one that we would have done the things that we did to come in here, win the AFC South the way we did, to battle back in the second half of our season and win the games that we did. But you know what? Our team right now is kind of built for these moments. Nothing is too big for this team, and so I'm excited to go watch our guys play and be able to handle the noise and handle this team.
It was always the Jags, Doug.
It was.
It always was. We'll do this again next week, hopefully. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Head coach Doug Pederson. We're back with more of the Doug Pederson Show after this on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's a force that can't be contained,
propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect. When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it. You make power plays. You pick your team. At Farrah and Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7. Jacksonville.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Yes, it does. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson for joining us in the opening segment each and every week. And we're still having weeks. The Jaguars play in the AFC divisional playoff game this Saturday, 4:30 kickoff time at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. 4-seed Jags, 1-seed Chiefs. Doug knows this group very well, obviously, and close to Andy Reid, close to a bunch of assistants on the staff. Obviously, he coached in Kansas City. That was a while ago now. But I don't know if it gets more personal than this for Doug Pederson.
No, and there's a lot of people in that organization that he still knows. I remember the last game that was, week 10, and before the game, I mean, there's person after person after person that was wanting to come up and say hi to Doug. And so in some respects, it's kind of nice to have that game kind of behind you to where, okay, now it's about the game. And but, look, there's a lot of love for Doug in Kansas City, and there's a lot of love that's reciprocated. I mean, for good reason. They did a good job with Andy, and obviously Doug, as he mentioned, owes a lot to Andy Reid. And Andy Reid might love M&Ms more than bratwurst, JP.
They asked Andy Reid today that all the international home teams were announced today, and the Chiefs are playing a home game in Germany next year. They asked Andy Reid about it today, and he said, quote, "I look forward to getting a bratwurst."
Now the question is this. Is bratwurst actually a German food?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know if it is or not. I like the intent.
I honestly don't care because I'm going to eat it wherever it's from.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. So I do hope that Andy might shed a few pounds in the off season. I think it would be better for him.
I'll tell you what, he's, as Doug said, one of the
Big Red.
great offensive minds that we have in football. You never know what's going to come out of that play sheet.
There's no doubt. And he's got a lot of respect around the league, and it's well-deserved. He has won everywhere he's ever been, and those folks in Kansas City, they love him.
It's amazing he did not win a Super Bowl in Philly. They had really good teams.
Oh, look, he's close.
They had really
just
good teams.
ran into Tom Brady
here in this stadium.
Yeah, ran into Tom Brady.
Yep.
And most people that had that happen, they didn't fare so well. But he's a great coach, and I think the one thing about Andy Reid that's been impressive is that his coaching tree, which he is that Holmgren, George Seifert. Yeah. Bill Walsh coaching tree, that's where he comes from, but he's continued that coaching tree. And that's a legacy that he's got to be proud of. And, look, coaches they give up a lot to coach. I don't know if people can really appreciate and understand the sacrifices that individuals make to be a head coach in the National Football League. And sometimes it has a heavy price to pay. You sacrifice a lot of time with family and friends, and the guys that do it, they're truly wired in a certain way, and they love it, and it's good for them. And Andy Reid is a coach through and through. I mean, he's one of those guys. I think he's going to be coaching until he's ready to move on to the next afterlife, probably. I mean, that's what he's a coach. I mean, Andy Reid, coach. Webster's Dictionary, coach. There's a picture of Andy Reid.
Right. I mean, he's one of the top winningest coaches of all time in the NFL, of course, and just continues that great success in Kansas City. Another thought from Doug was just the reaction to the comeback last week. And, we saw a bunch of videos come out. We saw the sounds of the game on Jaguars.com. We saw NFL Films had some behind-the-scenes
Sounds of the game, just real quick. Sounds of the game was awesome. If people haven't seen it, the Sounds of the Game, the Jaguars production department that they put together, the Sounds of the Game, is absolutely must-see YouTube TV.
You could see in their reactions right after the field goal goes in, and the players coming up to Doug on the field, and then Doug in the hallway screaming, "Do you believe in miracles?" and all this stuff. They'd understood at that moment what they had just accomplished was rare, if not impossible, and they did it. And that was fun to hear him just kind of reflect back on that for the team.
Well, the great thing, I think, with Sounds of the Game is that it gives you kind of the glimpse behind the curtain, I guess you could say, of an NFL game. And each week the Jaguars broadcast department, through approval with the league, they're allowed to mic up a player, and so they share some of those experiences. In this past game, I think it was Josh Allen that was mic'd up, but then you also are able to get sound from the benches. Roy Robertson Harris encouraging the offense.
That was awesome.
We got your back.
Yep.
We got your back. I mean, those kind of things. And I mean, that's, even as a person that lived it, that was in that position, I still absolutely love seeing that, because it's cool. I mean, it lets you know the kind of the ins and the outs, and it lets you inside. And I look forward to it. It comes out every Tuesday during the season, the Sounds of the Game do, and I enjoy watching it.
Trent Padilla is behind that. There's a lot of people that shoot for it and everything, but he's the one that edits it all together.
Yeah, well, I think my favorite one so far probably was the Tennessee win, and how they had the big giant scoreboard with the ribbons all lit up, and it was kind of coming in slow motion. It was that was magical. That was one of the best editing jobs of anything I've ever seen. I'm talking old school NFL film stuff.
Oh, it's
quality.
Cinematic. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yes.
And Everett Sullivan and that crew does a fantastic job. And then it's a full departmental effort to get that out each and every week. The Duval Divisional Watch Party has been announced, Logs. You're going to be there, so you're in Kansas City. No, in Kansas City.
Yeah, I'll be in Kansas City.
You'll be watching it in person at Arrowhead.
But if I was here, JP, I would love to be at the Duval Divisional Weekend, because you got the Daily's Place big screen. You got an atmosphere that's going to be as close to game day as you can get.
I think so. Lots open at 3 o'clock. Gate 1 opens at 3:30. Game kicks off at 4:30. It's presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, and by Patron Tequila. Register for your free seats at Jaguars.com. Also a send-off Friday morning. That's tomorrow. That's coming in hot. 9:30 to 11:30 tomorrow on the west side of the stadium. Send off the Jags as they leave to head to Kansas City. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it, while tossing the pigskin and drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time in Jacksonville. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timoneri, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. It's AFC Divisional Playoff Week, and it's the Doug Pederson Show. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Jags head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment each and every week. And Logs, our crack research staff knows no bounds. We dig deep for the proper information. Bratwurst apparently is thought to at least have been originated in Germany back in the 14th or 15th century. So
Andy was correct then.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Way to go, Andy.
There you go. Thanks to our crack research staff. Jaguars offense. How do they move the ball? How do they get a fast start against Kansas City? They have not had a fast start a lot. This is a team that they come back, they rally. This is not the week to get down a couple scores.
No, the last time that they played in Kansas City, they had all the makings of a fast start. They had great field position to start that game because you had the surprise onside kick, and they just weren't able to capitalize. They had 3 takeaways in that game. You had a really nice return by Agnew that set the Jaguars up with great starting field position, and they weren't able to capitalize. So you have to capitalize. And in order to capitalize, the one guy that you've got to find a way to block, that's Chris Jones. And if you don't block him, then it's going to be a tough day overall. And they struggled to block Chris Jones the last time, quite frankly. I mean, struggled mightily to block Chris Jones.
A lot of people have.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a great player. He's a great player.
First team All-Pro.
You know, much like, to give people an idea, Kansas City's defense, Chris Jones is considered one of the top 2 or 3 defensive tackles in the game.
What do you think? It's Rams, it's Titans, and then him? Or
Aaron Donald,
somewhere in that?
Jeffries,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons, and obviously Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence of the Giants is in there.
Okay.
Quinnen Williams of the Jets is in there. I mean, these are the top defensive tackles in the game. I mean, these guys are really good, okay? So he's one of the better players, okay? Then you go and you look at the linebackers, okay? Bolton and Gay, probably 2 of the faster linebackers that there is. And then, those 2 guys, and then when they bring in the 3 linebacker, they got a rookie named Leo Chanel who had a very good game against the Jaguars the last outing. He was a 3rd-round pick out of Wisconsin. So these linebackers are young and they can run. Bolton is in his 2nd year, Willie Gay's in his 3rd, and Chanel is a rookie. These guys can run, and they can run like the wind. They negate a lot of the explosive plays in the ground game, so that's going to be a challenge. The edge players, Frank Clark, people know about him. He's got nearly 60 career sacks. And then Carlos Dunlap, veteran guy, 13th year in the league, 100 career sacks. Gave the Jaguars a little bit of fits the last time. So this is a good defense, and that's probably the one thing about Kansas City. When you look at them from a personnel standpoint, they have excellent personnel. Excellent personnel. I mean, on offense, JP, Patrick Mahomes, what do you think he is rating-wise around the league? Number one?
Oh, you think he'd be up there? Yeah.
Probably the best quarterback in the league, right?
Right.
Kelsey?
Yeah, right there at the top.
Best tight end in the National Football League, right?
Sure, why not?
Their center, Creed Humphrey.
Okay.
Second-year player. He's probably the best center.
Okay.
Him and Kelsey.
Yeah.
Two best centers in the league.
What a battery, yeah.
You look at the left guard, Joe Thuney. One of the top 5 guards in the league. I mean, they have quality player after quality player after quality player. And when you have a quality coach like a Doug Pederson, like an Andy Reid, when you have a quality quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Patrick Mahomes, you've got a chance. You know, the Jaguars at some point, you want to see them get to where the Chiefs are as a group personnel-wise. And that's something that Trent Baalke and his staff are going to be striving to do to continue to reshape this roster and add to it talent-wise.
All right, when we come back in a moment, Patrick Mahomes won't be on the sideline sipping Gatorade all game. He'll be out there at some point. We'll get to the Jaguars' defense on how they can slow things down for this high-flying Chiefs offensive attack. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
At 5-Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. 5-Star Credit Union, 5starcu.org. Go Jags!
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reaver, David Cho behind the scenes, and welcome back. It is the Doug Pederson Show. It is AFC Divisional Playoff Week. The Jaguars and the Chiefs, 4:30 kickoff time at Arrowhead in Kansas City. The loudest place in football. Well, they won't be loud when Patrick Mahomes is on the field. Yeah, the Jaguars can plan it out and try to have these long, sustained drives and mix in the run and, finish with touchdowns. But then at some point, he's out there. And they're the #1 offense in the NFL. Total offense, #1 passing offense, #1 in scoring. So how do you deal with Patrick Mahomes and his ability to extend and ad-lib and throw from any arm angle and everything that comes when you're facing off against number 15?
Well, much like I talked about earlier, in that you want to make sure that you're fundamentally sound and scheme sound, and you want to make sure that everybody knows what their job is so that you don't have any breakdowns as a defense. But with Patrick Mahomes, when he does start doing that stuff, you have to do what they call plaster. So you plaster on a guy and cover him, and then speed has to take over to get to Patrick Mahomes before he can do too much damage. So you want to have some guys that have great energy and great closing speed that are rushing the passer, so when he does get out of the pocket, you can get after him. And then I would not be surprised at times if they had somebody spying Patrick Mahomes, so that if he does try to escape out, somebody is immediately on his tail in pursuit. So I was just now looking at the weather, because, I think that's going to be a factor for the game. We haven't talked much about that, but the forecast right now for Kansas City is cloudy with a chance of rain and snow in the afternoon, little to no snow accumulation, high in the upper 30s, east wind around 5 miles per hour, chance of precip 50%. So that's
no accumulation,
and then
little to no.
No, but and then they say at night, rain and snow likely in the evening, and obviously the game is going to go into the evening. Light snow accumulation possible. Cold with lows in the upper 20s. Obviously, the game will probably be over by that point. But the good thing is the winds are all forecast to be 5-ish, which is good. That way it doesn't impact the game from a throwing the ball standpoint. But could things be wet? Could they be a little slick? Ball security, turnover differential is always a factor, which goes to, I'll never forget last week, we were talking about the broadcast. We're getting ready to do the broadcast, and my whole thing at the beginning of the broadcast was about turnover differential and the magnification of mistakes in the postseason.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell do I know?
You called it.
Yeah,
I guess in the first half.
I didn't call that, but I said that, look, those teams that typically win the turnover differential win the game, which is historically true.
Yeah.
And then the Jaguars went out and started out -5 and never got a takeaway themselves. Ended the game at -5, and the Jaguars have an analytics department, and so I asked Zach, hey, because I said in the broadcast, I don't think a team has ever won in the NFL playoffs from a -5 turnover differential. Well, after the game, found out that in fact that no team has ever won a game at -5 in the playoffs. But so I had Zach pull the turnover differential numbers of the last 10 years in the National Football League, which include every regular season game, every playoff game over the last 10 years. And so just to give you an idea, there had never been a team that had won at -5 in the regular season or in the postseason in the last 10 years. The team that was -5's record was 0 wins, 37 losses, and a tie. But typically, these numbers will tell you the outcome of the game. This is the single most determining factor of any football game that there is, period. And just to give people an idea, if you end up even in turnover differential, you're about 50% chance of winning.
Makes sense.
Okay, if you're +1, your chance of winning goes up to 66.8%. This is based on the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. If you're +2, your win percentage is 82.7%. If you're +3, you're 90.9%. Okay? If you're +4, 97.4%. It's crazy. So the Jaguars were the first team in the last 10 years to ever come back from a -5 turnover differential. That's why right now the win percentage in the last 10 years, if you're -5, is 2.6%. Because the Jaguars got that one sole win out of the 39 game opportunities that were. Crazy.
Let's come back in a moment. The road playoff environment at Arrowhead will be noisy. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the MyGate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
If the last couple years have taught us anything, it's to show the ones we love how much we care. That's why Pet Paradise calls you by name from the moment you arrive. Why our pack leaders know each and every friend you like to play with out on the turf. And that you like some snuggles before you fall asleep. The more we see and get to know you, the more you'll see how much you mean to us. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. It's the Doug Pederson Show. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson in the opening segment, joining us each and every week. And we are still having weeks, which is great news. That means the Jaguars are still alive. Well, they're headed to a tough road environment this week. Of course, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And Trevor Lawrence earlier this week was asked about that environment, and his comments have been taken a little bit out of context. Here's the full answer from Trevor Lawrence earlier this week.
Obviously, the environment and the atmosphere we're going to play in is one of, if not the best in the NFL. I mean, I can't imagine it'll be much louder than our fans were here on Saturday, honestly, but that was when we were on defense, not offense. So we played there earlier in the year, but this is a little bit different. You know, it's a playoff game, divisional round, so the stakes are higher, so I expect them to be even crazier, more packed stadium. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta go play, and you got to make sure you communicate. That's the one thing. We got to get in and out of the huddle. We got to get to the line of scrimmage so we have time to communicate, because everything naturally takes a little longer when it's loud.
So there's the answer from Trevor Lawrence, and the one they pulled out is can't imagine it would be much louder than it was back in Jacksonville. That's the piece of it that everybody's blown up nationally, but I don't know, how loud can you really be? I don't know.
It's the world of social media we live in. Let's take a little snippet and put it out there, but look, it serves the Kansas City fans well. I'm sure they're all going to be riled up to give it to Trevor, and so be it. But the way you silence them, you make some plays, then all of a sudden things start to get quiet. Then they are not going to be threatening to break the new world's record sound level in Kansas City. But that place is loud, there's no doubt. The loudest place that I've ever played at was Kansas City and Buffalo. Then Buffalo in their heydays when they had the K-Gun and Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, all those guys, and had a great head coach in Marv Levy, and they went to the 4 Super Bowls. That environment in Buffalo was unbelievable. But Kansas City back in the old days too, when they had Derek Thomas and Christian Okoye and Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Their defense, Dan Saliamoa, Neil Smith, Derek Thomas. I mean, they were good, man. They were good. And Marty Schottenheimer was their coach. That place was loud. And so they've always had an incredibly loud environment. World record, right?
142.2 decibels.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Loudest crowd roar at a sporting event ever.
Yeah, it's impressive. But, hey, look, you have some success on offense, and then you quiet the crowd.
Yeah, they can go back to their tailgate early in the
kind of like
half.
It was here at TIA Bank
pretty,
in the first
darn
quarter and a half.
What the heck is going on out
People
here?
People were like, what? What?
Wait a minute. That's not how it's supposed to be.
By the way, just a big thank you to Susan Tedeschi and
Yep.
Derek Trucks last week sitting in with us.
Hey, they came in. It was great. They did a great job, too.
And the national anthem that they performed, so many people were disappointed that they didn't carry that over the broadcast.
I know.
People wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. Derek Trucks is an absolute magician on the guitar.
Susan can rattle the stadium lights, I think, with the voice, too. They do a great job. Their tour starts tomorrow, by the way. So they're out on the road again.
Where are they at?
In Florida.
Is it somewhere in Kansas City?
No, yeah, it might have to be.
They coming to the game?
No, it's not.
They'll be watching it, I bet.
There definitely will be. We're back in a moment. Special teams. You know what? There are 3 phases in football, Logs. Offense, defense, and yes, special teams.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to the importance of that in this one coming up. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's a force that can't be contained, propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect. When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it. You make power plays. You pick your team. At Farrah & Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7. Jacksonville.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 45 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And we're back. The Doug Pederson Show continues ahead of the AFC divisional playoff game as the Jaguars visit the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 4 and number 1 seeds, going at it for a chance to play in the AFC championship game next week. Business to attend to Saturday at 4:30 at Arrowhead. Well, the last time out at Arrowhead, the Jaguars had a mixed bag on special teams. They had an onside kick to open the game, recovered it, which was awesome. Didn't do anything with it, though. Missed a field goal, a couple of missed kicks in the game for the Jags back in Week 10, and, something that has kind of settled in since then, obviously, for Riley Patterson, but that was a big key in that game, a 10-point loss. There was A touchdown was called back with a penalty on offense, but making those kicks, got to make them. If you're not punching in touchdowns, you can't come away with 0 points. You got to get something.
No, and if you taking a look at special teams over the last couple games, I think we've seen a little bit of a change in their approach with the return game. Agnew, I think, during the course of the regular season has been a little conservative. If the ball's in the end zone, they just let it go in the end zone. And lately, they have been a little bit more aggressive. So if he's 4 or 5 yards deep, they're letting him come out.
Yeah.
As long as it's, the hang time's not super great. And in that game against Kansas City, he was a factor. He had I have my notes from that game that wrote while the game was actually going on. He had a 19-yard kick return that gave the Jaguars great field position at the minus 46. He had another nearly 40-yard kick return that gave the Jaguars good field position out to about the 39. And he's got to continue to be that factor as he has been over the last couple games, and let him loose, because when you play the Chiefs, you talk about, and Doug's talked about it, like to maybe steal a possession. Well, also have your special teams be a big part of your offense by giving them great starting field position. Much like the statistics or the analytics of turnover differential and how that impacts a game. If you look at the numbers of the starting points for offense and look at the percentages of scores that happen, obviously the farther out that you start, the higher the probability is that you score. So if Agnew can have a significant impact in this game, or even a monster impact in this game, as, for example, scoring on a punt return or scoring on a kick return, scoring on a field goal return for a touchdown, whatever. If he can have an impact, it would go a long way towards helping this football team get a win.
You get a feeling also that, they're going to have to score, 30 at least to kind of be in this game, it feels
here's the interesting thing.
So the point is, Logs, that you might not be settling for field goals in no man's land. You might just go ahead and try to go for some of these fourth downs, right?
Yeah, when you think about it at first, you're like, okay, if they're going to win, they've got to score points. And that's probably true. But they have been beat this year, and teams that beat them didn't have to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
You go back to their last loss was against the mighty Bengals and Joe Burrow. And Kansas City only scored 24. Okay, you go back to the loss before that against Buffalo. Kansas City only scored 20. Buffalo only scored 24 to win that ball game. Go back to the Colts game, week 3. Kansas City only scored 17 points. The Colts scored 20 to get that win. Which is
an odd game.
What?
That was a weird one.
Colts win with 20 points?
That Matt Ryan still at that time?
Yeah, that was Matt Ryan in that game.
Man.
So, is it possible? Yes. Is it likely that you win without many points? No. And here's something that's an interesting stat from the Jaguars standpoint. This year, when scoring 24 points, or more, they're 8-1.
That's good.
When they score less than 24 points, they are 2-7.
Whatever's left, yeah.
Okay. And this year they have scored, I think, in the last 6 games, they've scored 31 points or more 4 times. And so, the trending is in the right direction. You hope that they can put some points up against Patrick Mahomes.
Let's come back. Our final thoughts. A look ahead to Jaguars All Access tonight, and, of course, the AFC Divisional Playoff game this Saturday at Arrowhead. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, Waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timoneri, Florida's culinary ambassador. If you've enjoyed preparing fresh from Florida recipes, then you're going to love the Fresh from Florida Club. As a member, you'll be able to search and save delicious recipes, create custom menus, and ask me your cooking questions. Each month, you'll also get a list of what's in season, so you can make your family the freshest meals possible. It's free and easy to sign up. And best of all, you'll be supporting Florida's farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Join the club at followfreshfromflorida.com today.
With the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Duck Duck Rooter, the best plumbing and septic company in Florida.
Congratulations, Duck Duck Rooter. So tell us, how does it feel to be picked number one?
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is excited to announce we're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you need help tackling any type of plumbing or septic issue, call our team of first-round draft picks for the win. DuckDuckRooter.com. That's DuckDuckRooter.com.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
If the last couple years have taught us anything, it's to show the ones we love how much we care. That's why Pet Paradise calls you by name from the moment you arrive. Why our pack leaders know each and every friend you like to play with out on the turf. And that you like some snuggles before you fall asleep. The more we see and get to know you, the more you'll see how much you mean to us. Pet Paradise. It's a new day in pet care.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. Final moments of the Doug Pederson Show, and get ready for the Duval Divisional Watch Party. It's coming up Saturday at Daly's Place, presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and by Patron Tequila. The lot's open at 3 o'clock. Gate 1 opens at 3:30. The game kicks off at 4:30. Reserve your seats today at Jaguars.com. Also, Friday morning, a send-off for the team. Open to the public, 9:30 to 11:30 on the west side of the stadium. That's the side where the Jaguar statue is. Touchdown is the name of the statue. Logs, did you know that? Touchdown?
I did.
So, come join everybody else and send the Jaguars off the right way tomorrow.
That'll work. Touchdown, by the way, is the had to have a tooth extracted one time.
Oh yeah, that was. I think I remember the story. This is before I worked here, obviously, but I remember there's some kid got his head stuck in there.
Yes, it was a poor kid.
I wonder how old that kid is today.
I don't know, but that would be cool to
find him, right?
To find him and bring him back, and maybe see if we can stick his head in there again and get another picture or something.
Doubt it. I don't know if maybe he's scarred for life.
Yeah, that was not good.
All right, so it's not impossible. It's, in fact, very possible for this Jaguars team that's riding high right now to go into Arrowhead and win this game.
Well, I can tell you that if you go back, and I always kind of refer back on some personal experiences, and that as a player you always gain extra motivation different ways. And in 1996, I remember when we went to Denver, and we woke up in the morning and Woody Page, who is now kind of a talk show / editorial sports writer out there in Denver, had this article that he was critical of our team, called us the Jaguars and everything else, and said we were just really didn't deserve to be where we were at. Well, we kind of used that as motivation. I mean, it wasn't the only motivating factor in the game, but I mean, it was extra fuel to the fire. Well, the league is selling tickets to this neutral game site that's going to be held for the Buffalo Bill Kansas City meeting. right?
Correct.
If I'm a player, I'm a little ticked off that they're advance selling these tickets. Okay, the game's got to be played, and they're already selling tickets to this neutral site. Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. We got something to say about that. So I hope the Jaguars players, and I'm sure they probably are, using that as a little extra motivation. The league doesn't believe they can win it.
Hurricane Trevor's coming to town.
Hurricane Trevor.
Kansas City.
Buffalo. Trevor's never lost on Saturday, right?
Correct. Apparently high school, college, or now pro.
Interesting. Can he keep the streak alive?
I hope so.
Against somebody who has never lost a divisional playoff game.
Yeah. Well, there's a good time to start. That's this Saturday.
There's a lot of mojo going on, JP.
There is. Strings tonight, all access. The specialists are there. Kicker,
correct.
Punter, snapper. Check it out, 7 o'clock on Fox 30. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.